Welcome to Frontline World War II, my friends, and today we're going to be playing the Battle of Guadalcanal. This is, of course, one of the big three battles in the Pacific. We got Guadalcanal, Okinawa, is it Solomon Islands? I'm sure I'm forgetting one there. In any case, guys, let's get started. Look at this beautiful fleet here, a bunch of different PT boats, and we've got a massive amount of the Japanese forces right here. Now, we have to advance forward, advance through here, and take all of these units out, take out these bases, etc. There's also going to be some additional enemy forces out here that we want to watch out for, so let's get started. First things first, we'll send out the PT boats. I've always wondered if those PT boats are manned by Coast Guard or if they were manned by actual Marines. And it really one of those situations where I wonder just how involved the Coast Guard were in a war like this. So let's go ahead and start purchasing some units. We've got our base right there, which allows us to jump in, and we can kind of almost, deal with this one on our own, if that makes sense. Pretty much set up this attack on our own. We've got those ships to support our attack. We really just need to look here and think what we're going to need. So for sure, we're going to need a 2-pounder. That's artillery. We'll probably need some tanks eventually. But I think for now, just really basic stuff like snipers is going to be extraordinarily helpful. So I'm just kind of dropping our forces here. I'll drop another 2-pounder, like right up there in the front. I think this is really more of an anti-tank weapon, potentially. It'll still have its uses, but we'll use it against that bit of armor there. Put in some Rangers. Who doesn't love a Ranger squad? And what about one good old Sherman Crocodile? Because I anticipate, since this has the flamethrower attachment, it's going to be pretty effective against infantry as well as against armor. Let's push forward with the PT, and again, I'm just going to hopefully be able to hit these units on the beach as my men move forward. And this is very much like the actual battle. Of course, the Navy was bombarding the area for days, and thinking, of course, that they would break in, but the enemy was still well hidden, and of course, it led to some big problems. Peleliu, that's the one, Battle of Peleliu, the big three. Now, there were plenty of others, Iwo Jima, all this stuff, but there were those three that were considered the most vicious of all. In fact, Solomon Islands would not be there, Iwo Jima would. Alright, let's end the turn, guys. And actually, we got a little prompt there because we had moved all of our actual units. Now, I would have dropped more, but we have no space for those additional units, so we actually have to get them out of the way. But look at this. I would not have expected that. We've got Japanese submarines attacking us, guys. We've also got enemy battleships, the Nagato, firing at us. Luckily, that shot was totally ineffective. But I want to get rid of that submarine immediately. So let's just see what's going to do the most damage. And I didn't realize, see, I got mistaken here. The Hyuga-class battleship with the red and white stripes, there's a little bit of blue back here. I thought that was one of ours. I thought that was an American ship. Not the case. So let's deal with the Hyuga. This is a sub-hunter. We're going to move him right over here. We actually could have kept him right there, but we'll get real close. We'll end up doing more damage to ourselves than we will to the sub, but I like to think of this as preparing for the future. So we're damaging him so that we don't have to deal with him in the future. And of course, a PT boat is also made for hitting subs. Usually, of course, typically only when they're above water. A patrol boat like this, it might have some depth charges on it, but as you can see, the enemy has avoided that attack, so that's going to be pretty frustrating to deal with. And this is as close as our PT boats are going to get, so we might as well push on this beach. Let's open fire there on the gun.
Escorting P-40s and P-38s were undamaged.
Not too bad, boys. And with the battleship, I am going to open fire here on their sub. And it is ineffective. I should have known. We did a little bit of damage, but I guess that evasion ability caused some real problems. We're going to do the same with this sub-hunter. We're going to get up close and personal. We are going to take more of a hit than the enemy. Actually, this time, we'll do a little more damage to the enemy, and we actually got a direct hit. So, truth be told, we got very lucky right there. Alright, guys, it's time to start moving up the beaches. And as you can probably imagine, in a battle like this, it's never really safe. We just need to do our best. So I'm going to move that Sherman Croc forward, and I'm going to immediately start torching the Type 92 machine gun here, the enemy machine guns. See if we can't weaken the Japanese here on the beach. While we're at it, we'll push the U.S. Rangers forward. I don't like this. This is going to open them up to fire from the tank, but we can hopefully deal with that with this AT gun next turn. See, I made a big mistake there thinking that that was artillery. Thankfully, we've accrued a bunch of points from previous missions that I haven't yet spent. And that's right, yeah, you can use those points on future missions if you so choose. So let's see here. I'm going to take a shot at that infantry, those recruits. And keep in mind, Japanese recruits, a little tougher than most because they might not have the training necessary to be good soldiers, but they do have the tenacity. They're absolutely dedicated to the cause. Here we go. So far, so good, boys. Here on World War II WW2 Radio Network. Back for another one. I'd love to do this kind of radio voice that the guy's doing right now. I would love to have been one of these guys during the Second World War. One of the radio guys. Alright, folks. I think that's about it. We've moved everybody we can. Now, what we can do is we have room to drop some more units. And actually, what I'm going to try to drop is one of these paratrooper units. I want to see where they're going to go. Perhaps we have to take an area before the paratroops can be dropped. I'm going to take a look over here as well. Let's try the LBT. So this is the only artillery we can actually get right now. So I'm going to put 2 LBTs there. And let's get another group of Marines. Let's drop another group of Marines there. That should be good. I'm also going to rush an airstrike out. And we want to try to destroy that enemy base, of course. That's the supply depot, I should say. But for now, we'll have to settle for something else. That gun for sure can hit us no matter the distance. That might not be a bad idea, but we're getting pretty close to enemy AA guns at that range. So I'm going to focus just on the enemy machine gun. It might seem like kind of a silly thing to focus on, considering we have so many other targets, but I think it's probably the safest target. Alright, folks, let's turn it over to the Japs. Oh boy, we got another sub sneaking in. Yeah, they have quite a few submarines during this battle, and they got a little bit of payback on our submarine hunter. He's not going to be hunting any more submarines ever again. That's too bad. So let's see if the other sub hunter can take that target out. If not, we'll at least silence that submarine so that it doesn't bother us in the future. Go ahead and get rid of him with the Corvette down to the bottom of the Pacific version of Davy Jones' locker there. Let's see, boys. So these units over here hidden in the jungle, and this is exactly what you would expect in a battle like this. Of course, the Japanese waiting for you to advance so that they can attack from these jungle areas. It's probably not a bad idea to weaken them now, just in anticipation for our eventual push forward. So I'm going to start hitting that area. He is suppressed, but it doesn't make a difference this turn because he's not actually near any of our units. But what I will do is I want to start doing damage to that tank, and that's why I got this. Well, it's not really why I got this AT gun. I got this AT gun thinking it was an artillery piece. That being said, we're going to go ahead, move that thing forward. We can actually go ahead and start hitting that unit with the LVT. And I wonder if the Crocodile is any good against tanks. Because the Crocodile is really mainly, let's take a look there, 4-4. I'm not seeing a focus on tanks, but we might as well find out. I mean, it's not awful. We're still going to come out on top. But I'm guessing that a standard Sherman might actually do better because most of the fire would go into the actual turret gun, whereas here, I think this is mostly an anti-infantry tank of sorts. But still performs okay against other tanks. Don't get me wrong. Alright, fire again. And they do have some more armor here, but I'm starting to think that they are not going to get a chance to get those recruits in battle. Our snipers are just picking them off one by one. Alright, let's start working on that bunker. Luckily, this ABT gets through just about anything if it needs to. Unfortunately, it is, fairly small explosion. It's nothing too dramatic. More like a mortar than an artillery piece. Let's see. Might as well take out the coastal artillery. And with the PT-328, let's go after the enemy subs over here. Yeah, it's still not looking good for us. I wonder if just finding them, excuse me guys, just finding them makes a difference. Engages automatically. I understand, okay. Since we've already found them, it doesn't really make much of a difference, but perhaps in the future, it would be wise to first use that ability, that search ability, right away. And we would have spotted the subs first. We also would have taken the first shot at the subs. So again, just something to keep in mind. And see, we thought we were going to be able to use all of these ships to help our men march up the beach here and get into this area, but that hasn't been the case. We've had to focus entirely on the Japanese Navy over here, and they've got more naval units over here. So I gotta say, from a naval perspective right now, we are definitely getting our asses kicked. We've got to be careful. We definitely have to be careful. And hopefully, we can sort of get through the mire here and eventually do some damage to the enemy. See, I just learned the PT boats, they are purely anti-sub. That guy cannot attack the larger ship. Anti-sub and land units.
And there he is, underground.
Alright, folks, ending the turn. Back to the Japanese.
Underground, and the rest of his life, he gets information which tells him when the long-awaited invasion is coming.
Man,
How to aid by
they
the
got another one.
enemy installations, rails, bridges, factories. Through radio,
Let's shut him down, boys.
the oppressed learn the truth. Learn of the coming invasion that will crush the heart of the enemy.
Again, full focus going to the sub here. He is evading a bit. Even taking that 5, I'm going to keep hitting him, as you can see. I mean, that's how desperate I am to kill this unit. Now, in this situation, I'm just going to back off with the sub hunter. Oh, 2 hex. Oh, I wish I could undo. Wait a minute, we can undo that move. We can undo that move. That's at least 2 hexes. Come on now. Ambush. Okay. So interesting. The unit will stand guard and engage automatically any enemy that comes within range. See, this would have really been preferable at the beginning of the mission, but we didn't know that at the beginning of the mission, so that definitely adds to some difficulty, which I like. A little bit of a challenge here, and basically our Navy getting crushed, for lack of a better word. Now let's try to make it past that Type 92. I think it's about time we should be able to break through with our first Marine Company. Let's go, boys. Oh, that's right. They've got that armored support. See, I thought that was only for artillery, but that armor, the Chiha, is quite amazing. And again, if this was a level 2 US Ranger, we would get that beautiful bundle grenade, but unfortunately, we don't. We don't have that. So we're just going to go ahead and open fire. Let's actually pull back with the tank. I know you guys didn't expect that, but I'm pushing forward with the 2-pounder. I paid for this thing after all. I want to make sure that it actually works, and it looks like it does. In fact, we even fatigued the enemy, although that's likely more because they've had to attack us this turn non-stop than anything else. So here we go. I think we've got everybody forward. We got that sniper. Let's take another shot at the recruits. Problem here is that if we move forward, we're going to go right in front of that bunker. So I'm actually going to push back with the sniper and start moving forward with this. Although, yeah, they do have that tank. I was about to say they don't have any artillery or tanks here, but they definitely do. In fact, this beach is heavily fortified. There's no doubt about that.
Base at Impul to Kohima in India's Manipur province.
Alright, I think we've done just about everything we can this turn. Let's go ahead and drop it over to the Japanese. Wait a minute. I want to make sure, yeah, we've used all this up. Let's end turn. By the way, I just love the soundtrack to this game. I have to say, probably my favorite soundtrack to any World War II game.
American forces on Guadalcanal have advanced 4 miles beyond Coley Point, east of Henderson Field.
And of course, the fascinating thing here is, you know, for each battle, you're going to be getting that different radio report regarding the battle itself. I just really love that. And by the way, we've got some very aggressive AI over here with these subs. I don't think we're going to be able to beat the Japanese in the actual ocean here. I think we're probably going to lose the battle on the sea. But I'd like to see if we can't take this guy out first, the Hyuga-class battleship. It's just, yeah, we're going to be completely destroyed by these subs. So I think that's the answer here, is to try to take out the battleship. At the very least, we can damage this. This is the only one of their ships that can actually hit our enemy unit, or excuse me, our units on land. The rest of these ships, a lot of the like submarines, etc., can't actually attack us on land, so that is a bonus. Now, let's take a look over here at the situation. Are we going to keep on firing crazily at that unit with our sniper? I think we probably are. But let me see if I can't knock this bunker out. I just want to make things a little easier for our boys. I should have just stayed there, and that's where we can do the undo button. I think we've got an undo here. We might not, because we've already got... I think I actually clicked away on the 2-pounder, if I'm not mistaken. So let's push forward. He can actually do quite a lot of damage there to the bunker. And I'm going to go ahead and attack. I mean, it's only 2 damage that we're taking in response. And keep in mind, we've got our resource depot here. We can always bring that forward, or bring those points forward by simply clicking it and then selecting the unit. So it's not something I'm too concerned about.
Continue to attack the enemy's bases. And on Friday, strafed 15 landing barges and rafts near Tassifat.
Look at this, guys. We can absolutely destroy the supply depot right now. And that'll actually open up the area for more of our attacks. As you can see, there's going to be a space there. And I believe, and this is one of the things I love about the game, if we get a unit over there, particularly the Marines, we're even going to get some more supply points, which will, of course, allow us in turn to bring some more men to this fight. Come on here, boys. Get them. So close. Don't forget, guys, for those of you watching us here on Steam, I believe, make sure to check out my Twitch channel at www.twitch.tv/AgrippaMaxentius. That's AgrippaMaxentius. I know it's a lot to remember. My YouTube channel, it has the same exact name, but currently really trying to grow that Twitch. I like to do the live things, you know, to actually be able to talk to you guys here, see your comments, see your chat. It's just more appealing to me that way. The comments on a YouTube video, that's great, but there's nothing that beats sort of the live, you know, comments. Alright, I think we're doing pretty well here. Now, you guys get the idea, and I want to be very clear that the battle we're facing here is not one of the introductory battles, okay? This is a battle you actually have to unlock by getting previous victories. So, I'm going to show you another advanced fight. This time we're going to get away from the Pacific and head to Europe. Get ready, boys. Well, I was worried that the sound was gone. There we go, we've got it back. Beautiful. Let's get up behind the enemy and go for a straightforward attack. And I think we can pretty much crush the enemy. You see his XP dropping there. Now, this is a Piat. This is best used, or actually, it might not even be a Piat. It might be a bazooka. Let's take a look. No, that is definitely a Piat. And that's best used against armored vehicles. So, let's move up. But I'm going to remain in this sort of wooded area. And we can also bring in an additional unit here, guys. We can afford some SAS paratroopers. So let's go ahead, drop our SAS paratroopers behind this German, and put him out of his misery. Fortunately, we can't attack this turn, but next turn will be a force to be reckoned with.
Over the entire area between Cherbourg and Le Havre, a distance of about 60 miles. I repeat, there is no confirmation.
Alright, let's see. So once again, I think I'm going to just straightforward attack here. If we can take it, we might as well take it. We've cleared the main route, and I'm pushing over here because we get the initiative bonus. Pretty much in this game, when you do significant damage and destroy an enemy unit, many of the units get a secondary attack. So I'm going to go ahead and attack the Sturmbataillon, looking pretty evil there with their gas masks. Pretty vicious, I should say. And what I'm going to do is move forward. I'm pretty sure this Piat's going to work wonders, and sure enough, boom, against the SDKFC, absolutely worked beautifully. Now, I would like to get over here on the enemy's flank and just finish them off. I could have fired at distance, but considering they're so low on men, I feel confident enough to just go ahead and knock them out all at once. So that turn. What is this? Another Sturmbataillon. I like the sort of different look of this one and this one. By the way, for anybody that hasn't already figured it out, you can, of course, zoom in and out of this game. You can get pretty far out. And, of course, you can zoom in all the way if you'd like. So it's up to you. I sort of like to keep it like this, especially with these squad-based battles. Beautiful work, boys. Some of us are Americans. Let's get that straight. And I'll push forward. I'm going to use the sniper to support him. I don't think we'll be able to get a shot from here, but perhaps if we get closer with the sniper unit... Yeah, we're going to have to wait a little bit and get quite a bit closer. You can see that's the range. So when we click the snipe button, we can actually see the range, which means we absolutely need to push up to be able to open fire next to the unit next to the windmill, which is going to be a problem. I don't think they have much left, and if that's the last unit they have left, maybe we could fire, pull back, or vice versa, and kind of work from there. There we go. We're very good, boys. And of course, I'm using WASD, guys, but if you want, you can simply click and kind of move around like this. You can go back and take a look at previous parts of the battle. It's totally up to you. So that's just something to consider. And it looks like we might be able to just break on through. Let's push it through with the initiative boost. And that's going to be our victory there. So again, that's a very short battle, but just kind of shows you guys that you can also play smaller squad battles if you've got to get to work or you want to do something really, really quickly. This is absolutely something that you can do. Or maybe you're sitting on the train and want to play there. This is absolutely the time to do it. Now, we actually get a second Africa campaign, but this is all part of the boot camp, and I guess a bit of an impromptu tutorial to get you accustomed to the game itself. Well, we've seen the Pacific Theater, we've seen a little tiny skirmish in Europe, but now we're going to be doing Sidi Barrani, and this is, of course, in North Africa. Now, it's known as the Italian Offensive because the Italians are actually trying to push through our lines at Sofafi and get to Sidi Barrani, cutting us off, or lead from Sidi Barrani, cutting us off, I should say. This is something, of course, that actually occurred, an Italian offensive, and it was beaten back by the British. So we're going to try to do the same exact thing here. And of course, I just want to get started here. We can even see the specific Italian troops, the Infanteria. There's no way I can pronounce that. Let's try. Infanteria Division Sforzezza. So that's actually a pretty good unit there. And I have to say, the Italian forces in this game are pretty much scaled to how they would be in the actual conflict. That is to say, they have a majority of artillery and infantry units and really not many armored units. In fact, I think the only ones we're dealing with are going to be the Autoblinda, the BA-40, and over here, the Carro Armato, which is basically just an armored car. So nothing in terms of tanks, and that's where I'm probably going to be spending my points. Now, typically in a battle like this, I'd go for, a lot of infantry, etc., or just any of these hex-based battles. But in this one, I'm going to go heavy on the tanks. I'm also going to get some artillery. So let's drop some artillery there, and we're going to get some more of these Crusaders, because let's face it, we're in the desert. There's very little hiding here, although there are these nice little palm oasis areas. But we want to bust on through and just crush the enemy. So let's do that. In fact, if I can get another unit, I'll go ahead and get another artillery piece. That's how much I love these artillery pieces. It's just going to take a while to move them up. In the meantime, let's try to move up whatever men we can. That's going to be it this turn. All right, let's end it, boys. And actually, we do have a heavy cruiser. I could have used that to fire on the enemy position. Shame on me. I also like the different look here of the Italian troops as when compared to their German allies. There's absolutely a difference, and I think it's mostly accentuated by that helmet. I forget what it's called, but I've actually seen it when I lived in Milan at one of the history museums there, this Italian desert helmet. It almost looks like something out of Star Wars. In fact, I think I would not be surprised if Star Wars got the idea from the Italian desert uniform. Alright, so I hate that our Anzac forces, our good old Australian forces, were forced back. That's unacceptable, but I don't want to send him in just yet. If possible, I want to support him a bit, so we'll move forward here. Open fire. And of course, across the desert there, it's so easy to see the enemy. He's not exactly difficult to find. These SAS units will send them over here, although this position is defended, and I do believe that converts a bonus to this unit, but I guess you can't hold out too well against an SAS unit like this, and we actually managed to do pretty well. Now, I'm going to try to retake that position with this vehicle, but it looks like we just can barely get over there. Thankfully, we've got a nice little supply drop here, but I want to go ahead and see what happens when we open fire on the 61 Infantry Division Sirte. So these are actually Libyan troops, of course, raised by the Italians. Colonial troops, if you would.
You see, we want to help the housewives so we can serve all our customers better.
All right, let's see.
Ask us for new recipes and interesting varied menus.
And again, it's not a lot of damage, but every bit of damage counts out here in the desert. Let's get those artillery pieces up, and we can see the range. Look, I'm so glad I bought these. So the range is pretty dramatic, and again, I'm not too concerned about that infantry unit. I'm going to pile on to the few armored cars that they have here and pretty much try to get rid of them before they can even become a threat. We also can't forget to use our good old-fashioned battleship here, and look at just how much damage he would do to that infantry unit. You know what, actually, I'm going to fire on the flamethrower, the Lanciafiamme. I love that name, Lanciafiamme. We're going to move forward and attack that particular unit. Right now, our SAS, actually, we should have attacked any unit but that one, because he had the artillery support over here. But of course, these SAS units are very good in the counterattack. Now, this guy, you know, he's going to do best against armor, so let's push the Crusader. Actually, instead of that, let's do the frontal assault. I just want to see what it does. It apparently means high casualties, so no. That's only if absolutely necessary. Although here, if we did that frontal assault, that's looking pretty good. So our men are just going to go crazy, roaring into the desert, these Crusader tanks. Let's do it. They do get some support there from their friends, which really destroyed our frontal assault. So that's definitely, that's a big lesson to me. Don't try the frontal assault when those units are bordering one another. Oh, we've got the camels. All right, let's end the turn. Yeah, we've got to get to that supply cache. We're going to need some more men to get a victory in this battle, I believe. Oh, that hurts. Now, is that one ours too? No, that one is definitely an Italian ship. Of course, there, by the way, the 3 and 26 guys just lets us know how many turns we have. It's usually more than enough to complete the scenario, unless you maybe go for higher difficulties. I really don't think that's much of an issue to end the scenario within those turns. And one good thing about Frontline World War II is just the ability to actually purchase additional units once you've taken, of course, you know, supply caches, etc. So you can basically always keep the fight going, even if your first assault doesn't work. You can come back with more men and try for a second assault, of course. Yeah, let's shut them down here completely. And there we go, completely destroyed. We also get an initiative push, which means an additional attack. And of course, we're going to drop that right on the Lanciafiamme. He is going to get that artillery support, but I don't think it's enough to repel us. And indeed, it is not. In fact, we should be able to finish him off. And if not, we'll at least suppress him. I'll pull back and move forward with my Crusader Mark 6, or Mark 4 tank. Shame on me. Here we go. Is it? No, it's a Mark 6. I think it's a Mark 4, but change there, perhaps due to licensing. All right, let's open fire. We got to hit him now while we can, so I'm going to fire at him. He actually evaded the shot. Wow, all the trash talking I've done about the Italian armored cars may have come back to bite me. And again, he's got that support, but I think this time we got a direct hit. We got pretty lucky and actually heavily damaged that vehicle. I almost think that our assault infantry could destroy him with an attack. Not quite, but we could do quite a lot of damage. We're going to attack. Once again, that suppressive shot, that is a very happy Italian unit. The 2nd Infantry Division Sforzeca has been firing at us for quite a while. But we're almost finished with them. Just want to destroy that armor there. Come on now. Give me one shot. All right. You know what? You get your wish. We're going to open fire here on the 2nd Infantry Division Sforzeca. Looking pretty beat up. So I think just our artillery alone is putting in even more work than our men. I'm going to grab another SAS group to bring in. I'm all about bringing in additional troops, but honestly, I wish I could just buy another artillery piece, because we could pretty much just wipe these lines clear, and our approach would just be bombard, attack, until we got, of course, to the objective here at Sidi Barani. So that would at least be my approach, but of course you can do things differently.
Look, here is the new Band-Aid plastic strip with new Super Stick. It sticks better than any other bandage. The proof? Take a dry egg at room temperature. Touch the egg with any other bandage. Brand X, brand Y, brand Z. Not one sticks. But a Band-Aid plastic strip with new Super Stick sticks tight instantly.
Unfortunately, Band-Aid does not work for sucking chest wounds. That is a shame. Well, guys, as always, what I'd like to do here is go ahead and show you some more content within Frontline World War II. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to get out of this fight. You can, of course, see where we would be approaching. Of course, Sidi Barani would be our target, and once we broke through, we'd have a nice little victory there. But like I said, what I'm going to do is make a little treat for you guys. we're going to show you one of the more complicated maps, one of the final maps. Well, it's not really one of the final maps. Let's say 2/3 of the way to the final map in another theater of war. So we've been in North Africa. We've, of course, been in the Pacific. Let's go for something completely different. Well, Operation Overlord, also known as D-Day, guys. The 6th of June, 1944. And you bet we've got a D-Day set up here. Of course, we are arriving on the beaches to fight the Boches. That still worked. And guys, we've got Sword Beach, Juno Beach, Gold, Omaha, and Utah Beach all out here in front of us. Now, of course, we've got the standard German fortifications. I've mentioned this before, but one of the ways in this game to determine essentially what units are actually in the carriers is to actually just go ahead and mouse over them. That one's 1st Rifle Corps, for instance. This one is the 3rd Royal Pioneers, which would be a sort of engineer unit. So I definitely think that the engineers are going to be necessary, and we need them to bust through the mines here so that our men can make it through. Just like the real D-Day, simply working our way across this beach, we are going to take massive incoming fire here from a lot of the fortified positions. And this is just a guess, I don't think they're going to have an incredible amount back here, because of course that initial line was separated by quite a large gap where basically the paratroopers dropped, and back here, yeah, that's where we've got, look at this, Stugs, I believe Panzer IVs, no, Panthers, my goodness. So they've got some serious stuff over here, guys, defending Caen. And apparently we have some Italian supply crates or supply depots there that we could also grab. That's just an extra bonus, and of course it's going to allow us to bring even more men onto the beaches. So another thing I want to do is definitely loosen up these actual bunkers with some, well, good old concentrated fire. But it's also important that we get rid of all of these mines so that our men have a chance of actually getting on the beach. So you know what, for now, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to push the tank up. That tank can go ahead and get rid of that minefield. Same with our commando squadron. Now, I think our commando squadron can do the same, and once again, just get rid of that area. We are going to take some damage, and a few of our guys were also missing in action. The worst thing that happened here, though, is that we are suppressed, which of course means we're not going to be returning fire next turn. Now, we're pinned down on the beach by the machine guns, and this was, of course, quite common during the actual battle as well. Here we go. Now I think we do need to start attacking head-on. And unfortunately, this assault infantry is not great unless they're kind of like up close and personal. We're going to have to move the rest of these guys off the beach before we can move in any other units. So I wouldn't dare purchase any other units, but we've got an entirely separate beach, or beaches, to deal with. Omaha and Utah beaches. So let's get the U.S. Rangers out there. Again, let's get rid of the mines. And again, like I said, guys, this particular battle is about 2/3 of the way through. It's certainly a more complicated battle, and we can tell that just by looking at the reserve units over here by Caen, all of those reserve tank units. That is pretty vicious. But let's move up with the sappers as well. Destroy that. And now we can really focus entirely on those bunkers. Man, I wish we had some artillery. I think you guys, those that have seen my videos here on Steam, just kind of talking about this game, I really like the artillery in this game. So I'd like to have a chance to use it, but again, this is not an artillery-heavy battle, this one in particular. It's really all about getting those boys on the beach and destroying the German defender. I love these radio voiceovers, by the way. So cool.
D-Day is here. That H hour has struck. Air power paved the way for this mighty assault in the west. Thousands of planes each day have flown cross-channel up from Italy and Africa to tear up German gun emplacements, which have been 4 years in the making. Airfields have been knocked out of operation, and the German Air Force, with its wings very badly clipped, has been based farther and farther inland, closer and closer to the German homeland itself.
And I love those radio messages. I mean, just imagine hearing that during World War II on the Allied side. Just such a reassuring message there, and letting us know, not just giving us, you know, context into the game here, but really giving us context into the historical conflict as well. So just kind of like an added historical bonus there in the game, and I really enjoyed that. Now let's take those flames to the bunker. That's one of the few ways we're going to get through these ridiculously tough bunkers. I might even ignore the one on Sword Beach, although if I'm not mistaken, in our objectives, I believe destroying the bunkers... Nope, never mind. It's not a requirement. We don't need to do it. So I'm probably going to try and avoid that one. We might even try to avoid some of these. It really depends how the battle develops. I might just try to push my way through the center here. Onto Saint Mereglis. Alright, here we go. The Sherman Croc, again, I would think this is better against infantry. Yeah, it really is. So 2 against tank. What about fortified? So I'm not sure on fortified. Pretty good. I guess because of the flamethrower on that thing, it's pretty good against a fortified location. We got some commandos, and again, I want to focus on just one group initially, so I'm going to send the commandos over here to assist with this bunker. This is also a realistic aspect of D-Day, is just the fact that the only way we can get past these bunkers is to basically throw away a lot of men, throw away a lot of lives here to get on the beach and secure it. So we're just hitting them with whatever we can. Again, this is where artillery would be tremendous, but the only artillery we can hope for is going to be the heavy cruiser here off the coast that can bring us some support. In fact, we can't even land with our tank yet. We're going to have to wait a little bit until we can do that. So let's get started. I wonder if the Piat would be useful. The bazooka, in this case, would be useful against a bunker. Not really, but we might as well go ahead.
All night long, bulletins have been pouring in from Berlin, claiming that D-Day is here, claiming that the invasion of Western Europe has
Alright, guys,
begun.
this is also an opportunity for us to heal and repair this unit on the beach.
Confirmed by Allied sources, of course, says that heavy fighting is taking place between the Germans and invasion forces on the Normandy Peninsula, about 31 miles southwest of Le Havre. Another bulletin, also from Berlin radio and unconfirmed, says the British-American landing operation...
Okay, we can actually drop this tank. Beautiful. And you know what? We're going to keep on firing at that bunker. We are so close to breaking through. Let's turn it over to the Germans. And you know what? Before we do anything, let's actually... Oh, we do have a 6-pounder. It's going to take a while to drop. And we also have a long tom. Oh my goodness, my prayers have been answered for 2,000. And you know what? We're going to bring in an airstrike. They almost certainly have an AA gun, but I want to see if we can't knock out one of these bunkers. Not bad. Hey, not bad at all. Can anybody move in there? I guess next turn we can, and we'll be able to grab the supplies. But you know what? That's not a bad use of 50 points. Why not? Might as well bring in a few air attacks. In fact, even over here, I think we should try and just weaken this guy a little bit. That's what happens. Of course, they have the AA completely wiped out our unit. I'm sorry, AA gun. I didn't mean to do that. Either shot here would be a loss, although we could try to take a sniper shot. And we're still going to take return fire, but we'll be able to do some damage. You could just imagine the situation. If a bunker like that is taking sniper shots from the beach, they're going to know where to shoot towards. They're going to see those flashes. It's an open beach, so that's exactly what's happening here. We're kind of trading off some of our men for theirs. I feel like we're going to end up having to go for gold anyway. Not least of which because of the AA gun behind this bunker, but just, I think this is like the easiest way to push through if we take out Juno and Sword. But I like how this almost forces you to kind of go through the actual typical historical routine and take every single one of these beaches to really move through efficiently. Because if we leave any of these pockets of resistance, it's only going to cause problems for us. Alright, Jerry, it's your turn. He actually tried to retake the position, but our boys fought him back. We've got some brave men on the field right now. Always like to see that.
Now, once again, we are going to pause for station identification. It will be a 30-second pause, but I just want to take this opportunity, if you ladies and gentlemen of our audience will bear with us, I just want to take this opportunity again to assure our staffs at our affiliated stations throughout the country that we are continuing this broadcast of our invasion coverage. We are breaking for station identification for 30 seconds. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
I just love that CBS radio bit. It's so cool. And if you guys didn't notice, that is not the same one. It's not simply a replay. These are, you know, continuous different radio bits from CBS radio at the time of the invasion. At this point, we've got the tanks moving through, although I think that was probably a mistake getting suppressed like that. And yeah, they took a pretty big chunk out of our armor. Again, you know, D-Day really wasn't particularly a tank battle at all. It was all about getting the men behind the lines, number one, and, of course, on the beaches. So I'm going to push on through. Yeah, not much we can do with the commandos. We'll keep our distance, and see, even here with our tank, we're not doing too much damage. Let's push forward, and I'm actually going to hit this AT unit, just because at distance, that Panzer Grenadier, and I think it's actually a Panzerfaust unit, or at least a Panzer Grenadier armed with a Panzerfaust, it's going to be a problem. So I also want to trap him in. And this is just kind of a standard tactical move so that he can't actually get over to these tanks. He's still going to be able to hit this one. And unfortunately, I think the Sherman Croc is in a bit of trouble. What about over here? Let's get rid of that one of these bunkers. I'm going to pull back with him. And I'm actually getting as close as I can here to the aid station, the supply HQ, I should say, so that they can help us out and regenerate some of those health points. Again, just trying to open up space here. Unfortunately, it looks like we've got a Panzer Grenadier unit here on top of this hill. He's not only got a good position, but it looks like an STG-44, and I think what that really lets us know is he's got superior weaponry there. The Icon, you know, he's got the submachine gun. We do have a Thompson, so we've got a similar weapon here, but this is actually more of an assault rifle, so it's going to be a bit tougher to break him. He's locked into combat. I might even try to bring the snipers up to get a shot. Yes, that works. I think it's going to be a problem, but again, unfortunately, that bunker still spots us. So at this point, we're just trying to do as much damage as possible. News report coming in from home, boys.
The area of northwest France this morning, and have thrust several miles inland against unexpectedly slight German opposition, and with losses much smaller than had been anticipated.
That's right, boys. And we've got a Long Tom coming in. Now, this is our artillery piece here. And look at that beauty. She can start firing right away. This is what I'm talking about. Although 2,000 for this is a steep price to pay. And again, I'm going to try to weaken the attack against our poor tank. So let's open fire on that Panzer Grenadier position. And unfortunately, we completely missed. It's our boys' first day on a beach. They're a little shaky with their shots, let's just say. So I'm actually going to purchase another Long Tom. And another Long Tom for this section. So we've got some nice artillery support on both sides. Let's turn it over to Jerry. A direct hit. Okay. Our men actually have some decent, you know, returning fire there, and we actually had some support abilities because since they attacked our tank, that's right, our flamethrower unit was able to actually attack them. So I like that. Since he's right next to them, he does get that support, although I do believe we're going to try to get the Sherman Croc out of here and actually save the poor bastard. In the meantime, let's open fire there. We've got to open the area completely for him to move through, so let's do this. Yeah, might as well target that. We'll pull him back. Unfortunately, since he's a Sherman Croc, he doesn't get that 2-tile range. It's a 1-tile range, guys. And that's going to cause problems. So let me bring the Long Tom on. And it's funny, you can actually keep the Long Tom out here. It can fire from that actual boat. The PT boat. It's not the PT boat. What is that thing called? Essentially the landing boat. They can set up within the landing boat and fire. So you almost have like a little mini destroyer, let's say, off the coast. And once again, I think... News report.
Naval losses for the seaborne forces are described at headquarters as very, very small, although 4,000 ships and several thousand smaller craft participated in taking...
Doing whatever I can to weaken that bunker, because we're going to have to get through it eventually. So that's interesting. Despite this unit being next to us, since this guy's 2 tiles away, he doesn't get that support bonus. I like that. It's almost as if this guy doesn't see that our tanks are kind of firing behind him, but doesn't see what we're firing at, so he doesn't want to waste his or give away his position. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, so we're going to do some off-map artillery firing with a long time. Now, if you actually did this in a landing craft with a long time, I'm sure it was done, but probably extremely dangerous. You could sink that thing and lose the gun pretty damn easily. So, again, we're going for the weakest target here, because we've got to break through somewhere. Get back onto Omaha, boys. Snipers. It's only going to slightly improve performance, but that slight improvement is a big deal. And it looks like he's also low on ammunition. So that bunker is about to not be able... it's not even going to be effective anymore if we can keep this going. Some fatigue. Let's finish him off, boys. Not too bad. And look at that. Another XP boost, boys. And some more points to cement our victory here on Omaha Beach. I am loving it. And again, first things first, always remember to get that supply to your men. And in a situation like this could actually take a while. And in some battles, that supply will immediately go to 50. We can see here that there's not nearly as much supply to give. You know, they're here on Omaha Beach. They don't have their supply route set up yet. So it's going to take some time. And once again, I think I'm going to target one of these other bunkers. I like the damage we've done to Sword over here, or Gold, excuse me, but I think we've got to keep hitting Juno. That's where we're going to have the best chance at getting through, and we just got a direct hit, aka a critical hit. We've even got some beautiful black smoke to let us know that we absolutely smashed that position. Maybe it's time to bring in even more men. And in fact, we've got some paratroopers, an extremely important part of Utah Beach here, and look at where we can drop them. Right over here, guys. This is awesome.
Radio said the scene of the landings was a 100-mile stretch of coast from Cherbourg to Le Havre, around the Bay of the Seine and the northeast shore of the Normandy Peninsula.
Look at that. So just like the actual battle itself, we actually could drop paratroopers in. I wonder if we can get a paratrooper radio message with dropping these guys in. But that's a nice start, and again, probably want to just keep bringing in armor. It's completely up to you guys. You guys will obviously determine once you play what you're going to really want to do. And I'm going to bring in some armor and another Firefly. It's just invaluable. For those of you that don't know, the Firefly was an extremely effective tank with a longer barrel. And quite often, the Germans would target that tank specifically because they knew just how dangerous it was. At this point, I'll get the Long Tom on the beach so he can fire even deeper. Hell, we might even be able to go ahead, start targeting that AA, and then we could just bombard these areas into oblivion. Well, guys, I want to thank everybody for stopping by and watching this Frontline game. I want to also thank my friend Iona Georgescu, who created this game on his very own. Did an exceptional job, so please do check it out. It is available not only on Steam here, but I think it's also available on mobile apps. Most mobile apps, if not all. So I highly, highly recommend you will pick this game up. Again, you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/AgrippaMaxentius, or the same on YouTube, youtube.com/AgrippaMaxentius. It really would help if you follow me there.
On this program does not constitute an endorsement of our product by the Army, as the Army does not endorse any product.
Not even the Agrippa Maxentius channel. It was creepy how quickly that played. Thank you so much for watching, folks. Take care and have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there.